Hello and welcome back to the smartest fitness channel on YouTube, where the most biggest and most smartest of brains congregate. Mobility enthusiasts, hypertrophy and bodybuilding gym rats meet powerlifters and yogi, where people come not only to learn how to be good, but how to be better than others. Which, let's be honest, is the real goal of fitness and health. Now, there are only three things on this planet that I love unconditionally. Unconditionally. Now, there are only three things on this planet that I love unconditionally. My mother, making people healthier, and your mother. I'm lying about two of those, and we only have time for one. Which is why today we'll be talking about how to make those shoulders not only boulders, but healthy and indestructible. That means strength and control and flexibility and endurance. So if you're ready, let's get right into it. Please like and subscribe. So let us start with the most important one first. Control. Now, there are multiple options we can use to get to where we want to go. We can either use a resistance band, we can use any sort of stick, be it a broomstick or whatever you have at home, or if you're really hardcore, you can go for a barbell, starting out with a light one and moving up to Olympic barbells, 20 kilograms. Now, for this exercise specifically, I have to turn around, so please don't do anything funny. Now, one of the most important things is learning how to move our scapula actively, be it if you want to elevate or depress them, if you want to work asymmetrical or symmetrically, forward rotation, downward rotation. We want to learn how to control our scapula at will, which means that we're going to start out with classic adduction and abduction. Now, the good thing about the resistance band is that it's really flexible, so we do not need a lot of flexibility for our own body. We're gonna start out with adduction and abduction, meaning pulling our shoulder blades together and pulling them all the way apart by lengthening our shoulders forward. Pull them together and pull them apart. Now, we want to do the same thing in a downward rotation. Pull together and apart, pull together and apart, and in an upward rotation. Pull together, apart, together, apart. Now, the next level of this exercise is going to be working asymmetrically first at neutral level, then again upward rotation, pull in, extend, pull in, extend, and downward rotation, pull in, extend, pull in, and extend. This is going to require a little bit more control, but I absolutely have faith in you. Moving on to exercise number 2, now we can work on our rotation. The difference between having a stick and having a resistance band is that you cannot pull a stick apart unless you are as strong as most people who watch this video. To combat that, you can either use, again, the resistance band, which means you're going to need a lot less flexibility, because if you can't bring your arms behind your back, you're just going to pull them apart, and this is going to make it a little bit easier while simultaneously giving you a little bit more of a strength component. As for the stick, your hands are going to be fixated, so you need to move outwards as far as your shoulders require to do a full rotation. Now, first classic exercise in the rotation skill tree is the symmetrical forward and backward rotation. Then we're going to move to asymmetrical, meaning there's always only a single arm moving while the other one is fixated. Of course, we want to work into both directions so we don't end up an asymmetrical Quasimodo-like life form. Which moves us to the final exercise in this sitting position, and that is pulling down as closely as possible to your back and extending again all the way. Pull down as closely as you can, extend fully, and up. Of course, we want to elevate our scapula for a full range of motion and pull them together and depress them down here for a full range of motion. Up and down. So now that we're done with shoulder and scapular control, we can move on to the next one, flexibility. Starting with exercise number 1, and the exercise I probably mentioned so often that some of you will end up with a seizure if I do it again, which is hanging, because hanging is going to decompress our joint, a word most or everyone who comes to this channel already has heard of so many times. This is going to help us work better on our flexibility and get rid of some problems like impingement or frozen shoulder syndrome or whatever you have that is impeding your flexibility and flexibility work. Now, you can either work with both hands until you have enough strength in your forearms and hands to actually hold on for prolonged periods of time, or if you are strong enough, this is going to be better for your shoulders, working one-sided. And as always with the one-sided exercises, we always have to switch sides. And the only important thing you have to keep in mind with this exercise is you have to be very, very, very loose. You have to relax your shoulders to get from a more active hang to a passive hanging position. Hold it for as long as you can. Do it as often as you can, every single day. And this is going to absolutely change your life, which is why I talk about it so goddamn often. Now, there are an abundance of shoulder mobility exercises, and we would be here all day if we just worked on our flexibility. But if you want a complete guide on just shoulder mobility and flexibility, there you go. For today, we have 2 exercises that are going to be amazing and really easy to replicate. Starting with number 1, you're going to put your hands with the fingers pointing away or backwards from your body on the wall, and we're just going to rotate our upper body sideways as far as we can without our hand leaving the wall. Stretch sideways. This is going to elongate not only your frontal delts but also all the insertions of your pecs, which is going to help with shoulder mobility, because again, the shoulders, like all the other muscles in our body, are not a closed system and are connected to the surrounding musculature, and helping relax those and stretch those out is going to be good for your shoulder mobility and flexibility as well. Now, we don't just want to stand here like an idiot. We want to actually move a little bit down, upward rotation in our scapula, move a little bit up, downward rotation, and just play with it a little bit. You can go far down, you can stay in the middle, you can relax and work dynamically, whatever floats your boat. And switching from an active stretch to a more passive stretch, we're gonna grab a weight, and please, for the love of whatever you believe in, start with a low weight. Don't overdo it. Even if it's just a passive exercise, you can still get hurt. We're gonna grab a weight, be it a dumbbell, a barbell, or whatever we have, and we're gonna use it to pull our shoulders down as much as possible. Now, we don't have enough space downward here because my shoulders are already pretty limber, but if you have the same problem, just elevate your body more. You're a genius, you'll figure it out. And coincidentally, we can use this position to also just strengthen a little bit. So between every stretch, we can pull the weight up, maybe do 1 or 2 repetitions here, and then hold again. Let it pull you as deeply into a stretch as possible without getting into the really bad pain threshold, and then take a short break. And then disinfect all the equipment you use, because we're not animals and we care about our fellow gym goers. So now we can move on to the strength part, which is probably the favorite part of most of the people watching this video. We can either go classic, and with classic I mean boring, by just going through overhead presses, and even though it is a very effective exercise, it is boring as Not to mention that we are leaving things out because our shoulders do not just press over our head, and we've already seen this. So what I recommend is grabbing a kettlebell, and here we have the bonus that we're also including a little bit of a deadlift or a semi-deadlift, because we're only working on one side for now. But we're gonna pull to the middle, and now we use our shoulders to pull back all the way, to push up all the way, and reverse the whole movement. Now there are multiple things happening here. From here, I have to adduct my shoulder, then I have to move all the way, full range of motion, and from here we elevate our shoulder, make it as long as possible, then depress it, then reverse the whole movement. So now we have a lot of movement around our scapula and our shoulder, and we have full range of motion depending on our mobility, instead of just going up and down like a couple of idiots. Moving us to the next exercise, der Handstand. Find yourself a wall, get as closely as possible with your upper body, push it against the wall, and from here, extend your shoulders all the way. You can also play a little bit. Shoulder or scapular depression and elevation. Depression and elevation, and I know most of you have some experience with depression, so that is not gonna be a problem at all. Once you are able to hold for 20, 30 or 40 seconds, now we can start playing a little bit. Open it up, move to the left side, move to the right side.
Once you're strong enough, you can even include shoulder taps. Touch your right shoulder, touch your left shoulder, touch yourself on both sides simultaneously.
This way, our strength training also has an aspect of endurance, which is going to come in for the next part, and some control aspects as well. Not to mention that you're learning a very, very coveted calisthenics skill, the handstand. Which brings us to the endurance part, where we can also do a lot of different things. Of course, you've thought about the plank, because while the plank does mostly work our entire body through isometrically holding tension, we can make it a little bit more shoulder dominant. We can move like so and push upwards. This is going to put more weight on our shoulders, and it's going to be easier to hold and switch up, because once we don't have any more energy to hold ourselves up here, we can walk back a single step. That's going to make it slightly easier. We're done holding it here, another step back. Make it slightly easier, another step back. Make it slightly easier, and we're always extending our shoulders like so. Now, if you do not want to stay multiple minutes a day in the plank position, I get it. Let's check out something else. We can also use the weight option, but for this one, you're gonna require multiple different weights, starting out with a really heavy one and working down to maybe even the very, very, very tiny weights. Now, the more different weights we have, the easier it is going to be to control this and to get out much more out of this exercise than we usually could. We're going to start out with the heaviest weight. Of course, we're going to sit back all the way to a wall, and we're just going to hold it here statically as long as you can. And once you notice your stabilizers are giving up and you're going to just boom, hit your head, you're going to put it down and move to a slightly lower weight. Hold it in the same exact position as long as you can and switch until you can't even hold the 3 to 1 kilograms anymore, and put it down. You only need a single round of these per side, and do it every time you have a shoulder workout. And as a bonus exercise, we are going to combine strength and endurance and control into one singular exercise that is going to be absolutely amazing, but a little bit advanced. So if you can't do it, you're going to get there by doing all of this stuff and all of the other videos I've posted before this one. We are going to get to a pull-up bar, and you're going to do your very first archer pull-ups. Very shoulder dominant, especially in the mobility aspect, and in the endurance and strength aspect. So basically everything we want to work on. We're gonna go for as many repetitions as you can, and once you're done, you're gonna hang yourself there and switch from a passive hang to a scapular pull-up or an active hang. Switch it up a couple of times until your hands give up, and then we can dismount once more. And they until they couldn't anymore. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was just reading. Well, there you have it, the most comprehensive shoulder guide that is going to work on your flexibility, on your strength, on your endurance, on your control, basically everything you could want from a shoulder workout. Sadly, however, this is all the time I have left for you today, but if you like the video and subscribe, because we have new videos every single day on this channel. Captain Cairo, peace out.